that's the next bike to go, is this Westfield Manufacturing Sterling, which is basically a Columbia frame made by the same company, Westfield Manufacturing, and they made the Indian frames as well. So I put a tank on it just to be fun, and I think it looks pretty retro, a little bit more so than those just square tanks people make. And there's a Columbia back there. That's a 67 with the weakest frame ever designed. But this is what we fixed today. Ow. Still recovering from my stitches. 10mm wrenches for the axle of these hub motors. Better than a wheel lock, I think, considering they use hose clamps too. This chromoly wrench will hold that axle straight probably longer than a piece of plate steel. And I put one on this side too, so I've got two of them, two wrenches to use if I need them in a crunch, and they're both locking the axle with two hose clamps, not just one. Everything's running well now. Everything's spaced out really well too. It's centered for the first time in a while. And I've got a skip tooth rear wheel coming because that one is warped so badly. It's not unrideable, but it's pretty bad on the chain. So we're going to replace this rear wheel. This is the original Roadmaster wheel. I'll have to have it, or try to tune it myself, or true it myself, but with the chain drive, that's got to be perfectly square on the rear, or else you'll have like a chain tightening and loosening and tightening and loosening. So that's really important. That's a 450 watt motor geared motor brushed. I've already checked out the brushes, and they're available on Amazon for like $14. So there's 4 of them in that cover. If you take this cover off, you better put an axle through the other side while you push this out, or else those brushes will come off prematurely and spring out, and you won't be able to push it back in after you change them, unless you tape them down and then slide the axle in and pull the tape out. That's the only way to get the brushes back in. So there you go. We got the front. I might paint those hose clamps and wrenches to make it look more blended in, but we're going to try a test run first and check for any movement at all. They're under load because they've been clamped down on the fork itself, so those are pretty much, you can't pull the wheel off until you loosen those wrenches, even when it's turned upside down. So that's the mod today. Got the dual batteries, incredible amount of power. I have 50 volts after a 2-kilometer trip from 52 or 53 volts. I think that I'll probably have a 100-kilometer range on this if I take it easy and use either the front wheel or the back wheel, depending on what the terrain is. I can shut off the front by a red button up here on the handlebar. By pushing that, the front motor will shut off from a brake switch that comes with the kit. And the switch right there is the light and the voltmeter there. So that's for the rear motor. So when that's on, I can shut off the rear motor just that quickly, and I can shut off the front by pushing the red button. So I can totally disengage all motors within a second for safety. As well, I can disconnect the rear if I want to just use the front going up a hill, or I can use the front, or delete the front and just use the rear. So that's the mods today. That's the temperature gauge for the brush motor. And I'll catch you later. Out riding in the rain on the BMW today. What a pleasure.